Hello, everyone. My name is Gitika Gorthy, and today I'm very honored to be doing a very special space champion, Dr. Ilaria Cinelli. She is a forward-thinking young leader and senior engineer with records of accomplishments in biomedical engineering and space exploration. Her work experiences are in biomedical engineering, engineering, human factors, mission design, analog missions, space medicine, leadership, coaching, and management. Dr. Cinelli is an associate fellow of the Aerospace Medical Association, president of the Aerospace Human Factors Association, member at large of the Aerospace Medical Council, and member at large of the Life Sciences and Biomedical Engineering branch. She is also co-leader of the Space Exploration Group of the Space Generation Advisory Council. I'm so excited to be able to talk with Dr. Cinelli and understand her journey and what really got her into space. So welcome, Dr. Cinelli. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to conduct this interview.
Thank you so much, Gitika, for your invitation. And yeah, just a little bit correction. So, last year I was an associate fellow of the Aerospace Medical Association. And this year I am a fellow. It means nothing, but it's important to me. And of course, you couldn't know, but it's important to say. Well, I am the type of person that I wasn't interested in space when I was your age. I was just like, I don't know, I want to become a painter, I want to become a dancer. And, I wasn't in space at all. And until I was in the university where I was studying medical devices. And, when you do engineering, you have to design something that is worth, it is worth to design to have in the hospital. And then actually, that it has some sort of sense, But at that time, I was thinking, what am I supposed to design something that has already been, commercialized or optimized in something? And I was like, well, if I'm gonna use it on the moon, is it gonna work at all? I mean, can we do the surgery things that we do on Earth on the moon? Can we really do that? And because I didn't have the ground for answering my question, then I started question, and I was like, okay, we can't do that on the moon. Fine. Why? Because it hasn't been done before, or because nobody was wondering something about it, or and so I started looking for some answer, and I end up in the field of space medicine, and I like it pretty much.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really glad that we're able to get a perspective of someone who wasn't really first originally interested in space, but had this opportunity and was like, wait, why don't we do more in this? That's really awesome. And so before we kind of get into the more juicy details of really what drove you, first I'd like to understand, what do you currently do as for your typical day? I mean, I'm not sure if there is a typical day, but what do you currently do and how does it work?
Sure. Good question. So I usually wake up very early. So in winter, it'll be like before 7, and in summer will be around 6 or something. It's not too early, but it's early. And I do that because I do, training exercises, running in the morning, and then go back to work all day, full time. And then sometimes I carry on after dinner. And the reason is because I am in touch with different peoples, and people that lives in California, then I have to find a way to contact them in a reasonable time. And so I have usually meetings after dinner too. And during the weekends, it's a lot of trips around in the nature, diving. So I'm just back from diving right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, yeah, so I'm trying to make myself very busy, but what I do after work time, I do a lot of mentoring session, because as a mentor of the Space4Women network, which is a network run by UNOOSA, we do a lot of mentoring, and I do mentoring as well for SGC. And so all of that combined together, most of the time I spend like a couple of hours after work before dinner for doing mentoring session. And so this is I'm keeping myself busy, but I'm trying to be useful to society.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear that you do different things. It's not always, I feel like there's always a stereotype that if you are a doctor or you're interested in the space industry, especially something as complicated as space medicine, people are like, oh, they don't have any life apart from work. So it's really nice to see that that's a false stereotype and you're able to balance so many things. You just came back from, diving. So I think that's really great and it shows a lot. And so my next question for you is, I was mentioning how you're part of the Aerospace Human Factors Association. So what do you do and, what is your role in the organization?
Sure. I'm very thankful and grateful for to the Aerospace Medical Association, and the reason is very simple. So I went there. I was a student, an engineer. So I'm not a physician, not a medical doctor. A simple engineer student who just happened to figure out about the existence of the field of space medicine. And so I was very interested, and I was surrounded by the best of the best in the field of space medicine. And so I thought like, well, I can't afford any course about space medicine, and for two reasons. One, because I'm an engineer, so I cannot get into any, residency about space medicine. Second reason is because there were no such courses for me, and if they were part of the army, or I could not anyway afford it. So I was like, what's the best place to learn something about space medicine? Is being surrounded by the very best in the world. And you can find those people at the conference that is usually a yearly conference. And, there are details on the Aerospace Medical Association website. But say that. So I met quite a lot of different people. And the field of human factors it became one of the first in which I contribute in the association. And the Aerospace Medical Association has all of these constituent associations. So it's like a mother, and then there are little association. The Aerospace Human Factor Association is one of them, and it was founded in the 91. And I'm very honored to be part of it. And the reason is because the people who are in the executive committee, they are kind of the big guy of human factors. And so from them, I have learned many different things about the point of view to have in discussion when you're dealing with human factors or recent topic, or how to deal with this stuff. So I'm very grateful for that. And on my side, I was, contributing to the association and my best. And there, it was one of my first experience about, learning some managing, like how to contribute to an association, how, to raise funding, how to, select awards, and all of this kind of stuff.
Wow, yeah, and I feel like that's one of the best parts, that students, especially if like, whether you're a college student or a professional and working in the industry, if you want to connect with others, being a part of various associations, like networking through different social media platforms is really important. And I think that, your story gives a perfect example of how those associations are valuable.
They are, and the important thing is that you can learn so many things in schools. That's fine, but it's good, to update the knowledge that we have on a yearly base. And the reason is because there is so much in research right now that it's good to go to conferences for networking, but for learning first.
Most definitely. And you've been a part of so many different programs, you've had a lot of great experiences. So if you had to pick one, which I know is very difficult, what is the most exciting project or research you have worked on or are currently working on?
Oh, let's see. That's a good question. I am working on something I can't disclose, and but that is awesome. And but back in the years, well, like the first time I really pushed myself out of my comfort zone, that was one of the most excellent time I ever spent in research. And there were two times. One is where I wanted to do space, and so in Italy at that time we didn't have so much space programs, and I had to leave the country to learn space. But I thought it was something like, oh well, I will spend a week outside, and then I will travel back. But at that time, it wasn't like now that you can take a flight, a very cheap flight, and then you go to a country, and then you go. So it was. It became to be something very common to hear people, taking flights, but it wasn't like now that there is nothing to, it's very common anyhow. So I wanted to do space. I studied space. I succeeded, and that was it was a big step for me because I couldn't speak the language. Well, I can't right now, but still, it's more understandable than 10 years ago. And and then when I was in the desert simulating human life on Mars, that was I think it was very successful because it took me, I felt really a big stuff of personal development in there. And so I combined two things: on the side research, and on the other side personal development. And so I felt really fulfilled by the experience.
Yeah, and speaking of education, you were mentioning how you were a part of your graduate of the Space Studies program at the International Space University. And so I know a lot of people have heard about this graduate program, but are unsure, because it's a very relatively a new school. So what is your experience in it, and would you recommend it to other graduates?
Well, I attended the Space Studies program in 2018. Okay, and we did a lot of different things. I took part in the Lunar Night Survival project. So it was about designing power distribution and generation on the moon. And we did it. We presented at the NASA headquarters on November 2018. And it wasn't just myself, it was myself plus other 34 people. So what I liked it about is the international part of it, because I think the most part that, the good experience, the very nice memory I have is because of thanks to the people I was surrounded by, still the best of the best. And I do not consider myself the best of the best, but I consider myself the lucky person that happened to be together with the best of the best of the best. And so I learned so much from them, and because they were like people from all over the world, and so we shared so much in such a short time, and I felt home in a way that intellectually speaking, sometimes I'm the person who thinks about different things, who have a different point of view, and I'm very curious, and so I'm not just focusing on one field. I'm trying to challenge myself in different occasions, and so be surrounded by people with a very different background from what I have, with different experience, that was absolutely worth it. Then yes, I do recommend people to, of course, to may want to attend the space study program at the International Space University. They do have different types of programs, so they don't have just that program, they have other programs that people can look on that on the website, like master program, executive programs. But then like it's up to your priorities. If you wanna become specialized, for example, in I don't know, engineering or medicine, then go for courses that offer you a very high, very specialized. They're very specialized in something. The course that I have attended gives a very broad knowledge about different fields, and also give you the skills for combining that knowledge and for using for your profession, for your for your schools and everything. So it's a very interesting course.
Yeah, yeah, I have not heard about this university till like a few months ago, and when I saw it, I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" Because it's literally like interdisciplinary study, but related with space, and I think that's a really cool idea, and I'm so glad they have a school like that. And so I'm curious, did you always imagine yourself, like I know you said you weren't really a part or thought of space when you were young. So did you always imagine yourself in the position you are in today, or did you kind of have some major twists and turns in your journey?
I have not. So I'm the type of person that if you ask me right now, what are you gonna do in 5 years or in 7 years? I was like, I don't know. Like like we can't make such a long-term plan. I mean, even if I want, sometimes society does not allow you to make it. Like you can envision, but then if you really make it, it's something different. And so I'm the type of person that was thinking, okay, I don't know what to do in my life. I know that I like space. I am just a graduate. I want to, I want to make it through. I want to risk 100% of what I have, which is nothing. And so let's see if I'm going to find out something, and something that I like. The only things that I had to lose is, just nothing really. And so I work hard, and I really work hard for years, and I'm still doing it. But you know, you can't really tell to yourself where you are gonna be. The reason it's the personal compelling reason for which you're doing something, that it pushes you to go in a direction. Of course, like if you tell me about my professional life, well, This month I will apply for the, for the call for the astronaut call that ESA has opened recently. And but I cannot tell you if I'm gonna be an astronaut or not because I don't know. I have no clue. But I can tell you that I want to do implementational research, and that means be in the field, figure out if the things really make sense. Otherwise, it's just pure theory. And this is what I would like to do. And we'll see. Let's see if I'm gonna find out something.
Yeah, yeah. And I really think that's a passion that really and the mindset everyone should have, especially scientists. I feel like, if you believe in something and you want to do something, just chase after. You definitely cannot predict how you are going to be in a few years. And you just embrace every opportunity is really important. And so when throughout your path, did you have any obstacles that, kind of made you like reflect on what you were doing or the path you were taking? And if you did have obstacles, how are you able to overcome them?
Of course, I did have many of them. One of them, the biggest one, is that as an Italian citizen, my English is my second language, and so and I am strongly judged by my accent, by the way which I use language, the English language, and which is not nice. I do understand that, but hey, that's the life. So this is one of the obstacles, and another is that when you work in an environment and you happen to be the person who is succeeding in different fields, people might not start liking you because you may result too much competitive, even if that is not the intention. Like I don't do the things that I do, and so because I want to be the best of the best, I do the things I do because I'm just curious, just for myself.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. But then if people are feeling competition or it's not good for the office, then I was in trouble sometimes because of that. So even though I succeed many times, but when I receive some awards, I was like, oh my God, no, another awards. Please don't give me the awards. Don't give me the awards. I don't, because I was just like, I know that is another source of troubles, and I had to deal with that. And unfortunately, it comes one part of my side was like, oh my God, I got an award, and the other side was like, oh my God, like that, like it was very difficult, but it is what it is. What I do right now is that I try to support people who happen to be similar to me. They're successful or they have abilities to be successful in different disciplines just because they are you know and I'm just encourage them because it's so important right now to be driven by curiosity, by something that you really like, which is not money, it's not business, it's not just competition, it's something that is very healthy, that I think this is the right things to do. And then it doesn't matter if you get an award, it's just that you are following your curiosity. There is a process inside of you that allows you to contribute to society as well. So I don't see really nothing wrong in that.
Yeah, I think, that's actually a huge issue a lot of people don't bring up. I feel like that's for all ages. I mean, whether it be from like middle school all the way to, in your professional career, I feel like everyone has that situation. I mean, I was a student in high school myself. I know there can be that competitive nature and people are, they don't always behave the best towards people who, get a certain award. So what mindset for students would you like encourage them to have when they feel like, you know, they achieved something, but no one seems to support them? What is the mindset you would, you know, tell the, students to have?
Like right now, society is really driven to share and to advertise on social media. So the things that most commonly people do is they do something, they post it because they want to likes, they want to views, and this is a sign that they need some sort of recognition from their network. Okay, nothing is wrong with that. But when people do not encourage you, and this is something, sometimes you have to just focus on your skills, on the things that you can do for yourself, which is really hard. And so I'm thinking about something as it was for me, something that is healthy. Okay, so a healthy behavior, a healthy attitude. You wanna know more about history or some other stuff, just know more. Nobody's gonna support you, who cares, just do it for yourself, but not about other bad unhealthy habit. I can tell you, for example, I spent so much time outside Italy, like 10 years, and for the majority of the years, my family was like, "Oh, yes, it's cool. I know you like it, but hey, you can do something else in the life. Why do you want to do that? And it is, they didn't figure out how much I was driven by that. And it's, I come from a very small village, which is not a big city. We are just like a couple of people together and with a very conservative mindset. And my future was like getting married at 25, get kids, go to work, and that's it. And my life was like, oh my God, I can travel the world, I can do space. But like when you are from a small village, this is a reality that is not the one that maybe my parents at that time were like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not something that gives you the money to pay the bills. And so I was like, yeah, but it's my life, you know? Like if I don't risk right now, when am I gonna risk something like that? Like, am I gonna do that when I'm gonna be 80 with all the families around? Or am I gonna do that right now? So this is why I started traveling the world. Because I was like, I happen to be a person with different mindset from the place in which I grew up, which was absolutely frustrating when I was a teenage. Um, and so what I did is that I just focused on what I think it was the best for me as a person. And so I started dividing the things that people were telling me, like, get a job at 20, get a sort of husband or something, and that's it. And then I was like, in the life, there is so much more than that. That if I have a dream or an ambition, why I'm not supposed to do it? And this is a healthy ambition. This is knowledge. This is understanding. Who cares if I'm not going to be like the best of the best? But it's important for me as an individual. And so I made a lot of compromises. For example, when I was doing a PhD, I was doing 3 jobs at the same time. So I was the PhD, which is a job. I was teaching to kids on the weekend, which is another job. And I was working remote for other people. And it's a lot of money that goes in taxes because you have to pay taxes, of course. That's the law. But I did it because in that way I could travel and I could attend different courses or stuff around, move around and invest in my future, on my knowledge. So, for example, when I took part in the first missions, and I do that because it's something very catchy for people there listening. I wasn't really into, I was just like, oh my God, I come from a small village, which is isolated. Now I live in a big city, which is London. Why am I supposed to go in another desert? Like I was like, I'm back from there. Like there's no really point. And but I did it for myself. I was like, if I want to be a very good engineer, am I not gonna? Really shall implement the things that I'm telling to people to do, because otherwise it makes no sense, just theory. But engineering is practice. And so I was like, if I want to be a very good engineer in the field of space, I gotta figure out what's implementation. And so I did it. And there is not a good way or right way. There is a bad time, of course. And but when you're really driven by something, just do it. And I made a lot of compromises, even for my personal life. And it happened. But you have to figure out what's the best for yourself, and that's the deal.
Yeah, I literally can see your like passion and excitement for, knowledge and, answering your questions, your curiosity, just like bursting through the screen. And that I think that's so inspirational. I mean, thank you first of all for sharing that story. I feel like a lot of, especially I feel like immigrants can relate with this story, whether they're in coming to the US or they're in kind of conservative areas. I believe they can really agree. I mean, personally for myself as well. I mean, there's a lot of like the society we grow in, like, relatives and everything. If I tell them, oh, I really want to go into like space studies, they're like space, is that like is that an attainable career? Can you earn money? Can you live? And I'm like, yes you can. Like there's just like this like really, I don't know why, like a bubble almost where people are like, okay, just get a simple job like everybody else, like go into computer science or, go, just be a teacher or something. And then, live your life, get married and have kids and your life is good. But really, there's just so much more than that. And I feel like a lot of students get into that bubble and they're like trapped because of society. So what you said, sharing your story and kind of being like, if you have an ambition or a dream or a goal, it's so important to not like listen to what other people are saying, but rather like determine for yourself what is right and what is wrong. So, thank you so
And
much for.
it comes. You gotta be willing to fail. That is the thing. Because if you take any job in any very popular field right now, maybe it won't be popular when you will graduate from your university. And but the thing is that what I did implies a lot of failure in terms of learning, professional failure, and everything. So the key is that I have been failing so much time in my life that I'm not scared anymore. So, I'm not the person who is avoiding or is pretending that risks do not exist. I know them, but because I have been facing so much failure, I know that if I'm gonna fail, I know how to stand up and carry on. And people don't know that. People get stuck, and then they try the very common things that I've seen in people. They are trying to avoid as much as possible failure. But the thing is, you gotta deal with it sometimes in your life. There is nothing wrong with that, and you gotta push, do the things, stand up, and walk again. And I'm very happy about it, to be fair. And I'm not like even for my professional career, I'm not a graduate from any fancy university, like all of these top 10 university worldwide, and I'm not one of them. But I'm working now with the UNOOSA. With UNOOSA, I am a fellow in aerospace medicine, and most engineering don't, even physician, they are not. And so I think this is our successful stories, but this is built on failure, on willing to fail and willing to stand up and take your responsibilities and move on. And this is something that, sometimes these days people don't teach how to fail, on how to change the meaning of any event from failure to success. And this is where frustration sometimes arises. And people don't want to be frustrated. People want to be, popular. They want to be happy. They want to be successful in such a short time. But this is not real, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we always hear those quotes about how failing is, the first step to success. And we just hear those quotes, but it's so hard to actually implement in our lives. I feel like it's really difficult to, like everyone else around you is like, oh, well, I'm going to aim for this Ivy League school, or I'm going to go to this amazing university with this amazing degree. And it's kind of like when you don't get it, it's like you get stresses about the society standards. And like you were saying, it's so important to reflect rather than taking it as like a failure, but like just be like, okay, I didn't get it, it's fine, but now I'm going to work harder to do this is my next goal, and not just stopping. It's just extremely important.
And you don't decide where you are born, you don't decide your ethnicity, you don't decide the money you have to invest for your education. So there is nothing to blame. Like what I'm doing right now, even with the Mars universities, to open up courses that people can attend, remotely. They are very affordable, so that people learn. And this is important, and it's important for others to learn and to just have one or two opportunities, sorry, in the life to figure out their vision. And so I didn't have the chance at that time myself. It was bloody hard because I had to study everything by myself, do many jobs at the same time, so having meeting with people that were telling me lots of very bad stuff. And but then I figured out my way. And so right now that I'm in a position for opening up more opportunities, why not? This is why I'm doing mentoring. This is why I'm trying to be a nice faculty member who can share knowledge in the field. Of course, you won't become the super expert, but it gives you, the basic understanding for even running a very small business in your place. And so that is important, I believe.
Yeah, and it's really funny. That's exactly like a part of my mission statement with Ignited Thinkers. It's the way you're born. You can't control the way you're born, like in terms of your looks and your economic status, your how your gender identification. None of that you can control. However, something that you can control is your future and how you take upon it. And so, really, if you are passionate about something and you love it, just like you did, just follow your dreams. And I think your story really says that. And I want to thank you for sharing that story with us, because I know it's like not everyone is so transparent about really the full story of themselves. I think it's so important.
Like I have been an immigrant in Spain, UK, Ireland, the Netherlands, United States. And so I have experienced a different path. And when you happen to be a woman and an immigrant, of course, I am white. So people think, okay, you're white, probably you're blessed than other ethnicity. But hey, I am a woman, I am an immigrant, and I can tell you that there is so much on to work on. And I have seen so many, scenarios where they are quite challenging, I must say it. But, you can't control that. You have to, react, to take your rights, react, move on, and do the best things that you can. And, it's not being right, it's taking your rights, stand up for yourself, because nobody will stand up for you. We live in a world that even with people that I know, unfortunately, they're just pushing people down. It's way easier to push people down. It's so easier. But believe me, when I go on a mission, you take me any sort of graduate, because I've done that many times, and I twist them and I make them from very fragile to very confident. And so why not push them people up? Like why not encourage them? Like for example, maybe you will figure out the way to make human life on Mars. And so why not encourage you to do that? Because you will resolve one of the biggest questions in space medicine right now. And then I will get benefit from that, because I can get to Mars, but thanks to you. So it's very stupid to push people down.
Yeah, we're trying to grow
It's not
as like a
competition,
society.
it's integration. Our resources, like people of your age, are going to be my future colleagues. And so why am I supposed to push people down? This is something that I don't understand. There are people that really have advanced skills in that. And this is stuff that I don't condone. I understand, but I don't condone, because people, especially professors, they should encourage people to study, to not give up, to understand. We are in a pandemic. It's a very challenging environment, but education is key part. And this society is starving of hope, encouragement, of principles. They are way beyond space. This is our even feelings, but there are principles of the society which is very fragile, and people start feeling it. And so I just want to do my best because you do your best and then you receive.
Yeah, I mean, what you were saying is like such a mindset difference. It's like you push people down, but why are you doing that? Because you're pushing a whole society, including yourself, down when you
Because
do
you
that.
don't want people to be better than you. You want
That's true.
people to be very good, but not as much as you are, because then you can control people. And I was just like, in my mindset, why am I supposed to control people if they can do something way better than me and probably resolve a lot of different issues that I do have right now in my life? I mean,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
For me, that's stupid, but it's just me.
Yeah. And so my last question for you to really wrap up the story and, just like everything we've talked about today is what advice, which you've given a ton already, do you have for young people if you had to give one piece of advice regarding their pursuit of, getting a passion in the STEM field, space industry, really any career, something that you wish you knew when you were maybe in middle school or high school?
Oh yeah. One of the things is that sometimes you just wonder what are you gonna do in your life, right? And you think like I don't know, and maybe you are just like you have to apply to college, and you think like I don't know what I'm gonna do, and it's fine. Okay, so accept that it is fine. You don't have to push too much yourself. If you can't figure out, that's fine. I figured out what I really want to do in the life at the end of my bachelor. So it's kind of late, I have to say. But the thing is, I haven't found before, I didn't found anything that was to me intellectually very very
Exciting.
I wasn't intellectually driven by something such as space. And so when I found space, when I really look at the field of space exploration, then I thought like, oh, okay, so I can use all the skills I have, and literally anything that I like in my life, it really now can make sense. But that happened because I try so much, and I discover space. But you have to try. So if you don't know what to do, just give it a go and try a little bit of everything. And if you can't find, that's fine, because you need time, because we need to grow, not just physically but even mentally, which is a different type of growth. And it's absolutely fine. But the most important thing is, when you don't know what to do something anyway. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be, perfect. If you don't like, you can change. But do it anyway, because if you don't do and you procrastinate, you're waiting, doing nothing, that is a waste. But if you do something, then you're still learning. You keep yourself connect to stimuli, and you keep learning. So it is fine, but just try everything.
Yeah, that is perfect advice. I mean, keep trying, find that thing that makes you want to wake up even on a Monday morning to work and just find that passion. And I think that's so important just to keep trying. There's never too late. I'm a huge believer that age is just a number. And you can literally in the middle of a career, I've had people who switched into the space industry and they're doing amazing work. So really it's never too late to get to a career. So I want to thank you so much for taking some time to share your vulnerable story with us and how you were really able to come into the space industry. Truly, truly was very inspirational for me, and I'm sure everyone else who's listening.
Thank you so much for your invitation and your consideration. Thank you.